welcome to another episode of Biz Talks with Jodia Vanel. Today, our special guest is Coy Vanel, a writer, actress, and Pilates guru. Coy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are now in LA and I'm in New York, so I know it's a little early, but we're going to carry on with this interview and make the best of it. So Coy, tell me about yourself. What have you been up to? How have you been transitioning from this actress, writer, and now into Pilates? Give us some insights.
So I have actually been receiving a lot of self-tapes for auditioning. So that's always great for an actress. Like, we're happy to still have work come our way during the pandemic. And I've just decided to do some Zoom classes. So I'm doing free classes Mondays and Wednesdays, 3 p.m. West Coast time and 6 p.m. East Coast.
Free as always. Good.
So I think it's very important. It helps people just kind of keep going and stay healthy mentally and physically during this time. So I've been up to that and taking care of my 3-year-old. She keeps me extremely busy. So just juggling all of those things and finding balance.
So you moved from New York to LA to start up acting. What has that been like? What has auditions been like for you? How has balancing work and audition, what is that like for inspiring actors?
So it can be challenging, but if this is something that you really want to do, you have to be committed and consistent. And that's something, unfortunately, I did not do my first 2 years when I moved to LA. I wasn't consistent. I was like trying to find a job and making sure I had reliable income. And that kind of took place of what I was here to pursue. So now, years later, I just stay focused. I remember getting an agent and a new agent came in, a new commercial agent, and he dropped me, and it was devastating. But you pick up and you move on. So now I'm with a lovely agent. She is always in communication with me. She gives me great feedback. She sends me a ton of stuff. So I'm staying positive, and it can extremely be challenging. But you have to find your way. You have to take classes, you have to network, and that's something that I always shied away from because I don't always say the right thing, or I'm not a people pleaser. And I saw the difference when I moved out here. Some people have the gift of the gab, or the fake it till you make it kind of lifestyle, and that's not who I am. So I definitely feel like you have to stay true to yourself, and you just have to know what works for you. And definitely classes so you can network, and you'll find people who want to create their own productions. And that's really what it's about, especially now in this age. A lot of people aren't waiting to be told yes by producers or casting directors. They're out there creating their own content, YouTube series. And luckily I found Pilates as something that I'm able to kind of give me flexibility with having a family of my own, and still going on auditions and taking care of my 3-year-old and spending time with my husband. And now it's something that I love. I remember I was working for a healthcare union for a very long time as an assistant, and I started trying to navigate in different departments there, and I had to remind myself, this is not my end goal. Like, this is not what I came to do. And I was going on auditions during my lunch break, or using vacation time, or sick days.
Those famous sick days, right?
To have auditions, and then I was being, told no for different promotions in other departments, but they were still utilizing my skills and wanting me to multitask and work in all these other departments, but they weren't matching the title with the work that they were giving me. So, I had my daughter, I got married, and I just knew like, this isn't gonna work for me. It was stressful. And I found Pilates, I loved it. And I thought, maybe this is what I could do. Like I could teach Pilates. So I reached out to a few people that I knew who were instructors and, studio owners. And I took meetings with them and picked their brain. And I made the decision last year to study and get certified to become a Pilates teacher. And it's been the best thing. I don't miss my old job. I have more flexibility, excuse me, and I'm much happier.
I know. So what I'm hearing from you is that life can be derailed at times, but as long as you have that goal, as long as your mindset is dedicated to what your true purpose is, you can always come back at any time and revisit and, start up again. So I hear that you're starting up again. So, now you're married, you have a young toddler, you're doing Pilates, and you're acting. How are you managing life right now? What are you doing to balance all of those things?
Um, I have a plan. I have a schedule to submit for auditions, and I know, when the deadline is. So I work around that most times. And as you can hear, sometimes my toddler.
Is that the famous London Vanel?
Where's London Vanel? I'm downstairs. But hello. I try to just stick to a schedule.
Hi, London. How are you?
She said, "How are you?"
Welcome to our interview. I guess it's now going to be the London and Coy interview.
So I just try to stay focused and go with the flow because life always throws you curveballs. So as much as I'm a planner, I realize you can plan all you want. And that saying, God laughs at our plans. So you kind of just have to be able to go with the flow and be able to switch up things last minute. I remember times she had like a half day at school and I had an audition and like I didn't have a babysitter, so I had to take her, and she usually helps me woo the casting directors anyway. So that's just an example of sometimes how it doesn't go according to plan. And then right now, while we're home in our lockdown, I have committed to the Monday, Wednesday Pilates teaching, and I kind of make sure I have her busy. There's some times where she comes in and I have a mat set up for her just in case, so that won't really interrupt too much. She kind of just gets in the flow and pretend teaches.
Moving forward, you found Pilates to be that happy place for you. So you have been studying, practicing Pilates, and now you're teaching it. Let's talk a little bit about the business of Pilates. We know why you got into it, but let's just talk about that business journey. What has it been like?
So it's been very exciting. I mean, this is like a new adventure for me as far as starting up the business. It'll almost be a year next month where I really started branding CoreWorks. And I'm just doing little by little because really I had to take the time to get the education for my certification. And I was still making sure I had clients, to do practice teaching. And I remember speaking to Pamela Johnson. She has a studio downtown Los Angeles called the Mind Body Movement. And she is kind of who started me on this journey. A friend took me to her studio and I loved it. And then I had a baby, so I stopped going to Pilates. But I reached out to her again to kind of find out how it is for her creating her own studio. And there were unfortunately a lot of cons, but mostly pros. Like, she loves it. It's challenging, and I'm sure it definitely now during this, pandemic, it can be rough on small business owners.
Mhm.
Uh, so I decided to kind of take my time instead of rushing to find a location and like scout out places to either lease or buy and or franchise. I'm getting my certification through Club Pilates. um, I'm ready to test out. It's just, everything's closed down right now, and they have a franchise opportunity that you can join. So I looked into that, and it's not really the right fit. They don't have any more locations in Los Angeles right now. But also, I've realized that's maybe not the avenue I want to go on. So I'm focusing on branding CoreWork and traveling to clients or having them, come to me when it's safe. And right now, we're going to do, virtual classes through Zoom. And so that's kind of what my journey has been like. In the beginning, I was like, I want to open a studio. I want to do this. I want to do that. But then after taking the meeting with Pamela and really becoming realistic about my goals and what it takes, I knew, okay, slow down, focus on the training and your certification, and then just brand, 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 brand.
Yeah,
Because
it's really interesting to hear from your perspective. A lot of the interviews, the Biz Talks, have been with established businesses that have been doing this for many years. So it's really refreshing to hear you talk because you are the startup. You are in the very beginning stages of your business. And I think one of the really important things that you mentioned, or you've aligned yourself with some mentors in the game, right? So Pamela is serving that need for you, someone who's ahead of you that can really guide you and that you're trusting. So I do encourage a lot of people who are starting up their business to look at different people within your industry that you like and you admire. And, many times a lot of folks will give you some feedback, some, to be very honest, they're not going to do it. But for the ones who do take the time out, it's really good to have a mentor, to show you what life can actually be like a couple of years from now. Okay, so I wish you all the luck with CoreWorks. And I mean, I've even taken some of your classes. You're an amazing instructor. And I look forward to those free Pilates classes that you have on Mondays and Wednesdays. And, a lot of folks have been talking about what they're doing right now to contribute while COVID is happening. And it's really good to hear from you that you're offering these services, and maybe the Pilates could bring some happiness to folks who are stuck in their homes at this time. So
happiness and ready for quarantine, post-quarantine body.
you're ready for a post. Well, we're practicing and getting ready for our post-quarantine body for sure. I'm struggling with my planking, so any help with that would be greatly appreciated. So it's so interesting. So I know a lot of women take Pilates. Do you know sort of like the percentage or the breakdown of women versus men? Some people, like men maybe in LA, are very into this, or in big cities, men may be taking Pilates a little bit more. But I hear from a lot of men that they think it's like, oh, what is that? What is that? And I'm always like, Pilates yoga is so important. Can you
Yeah,
just talk about why this is important for male and females?
absolutely. So it's so funny because Pilates was started by a man, Joseph Pilates, and So from what I don't know the statistics, but from what I've seen at Club Pilates, I probably would say it might be 40, 60, because there a lot of men do come to the classes. It's just a good workout and muscle strengthener. And even if you have injuries, there's modifications you can do. And a lot of people come to Pilates as like part of their physical therapy requirement. And it's just gonna strengthen your muscles and it's gonna tone you. There's different classes that can help you do cardio to lose weight. It's great. And I think it's beneficial for men and women because I mean, we don't know our strength, right? And there's some men, they come in, they think this is nothing. You know, my husband and my stepfather both came and I taught them and they could barely do some of the movements that women are able to do. And also women and men have different muscle usage. Like they're able to do, like, I forgot what I saw online once, like women can kind of do a handstand in a crunch and it's harder for a man or something like that. I actually have to look it up. That might not be the exact thing, but it's different because they lack the stomach muscles, the same stomach muscles that we have.
So are you saying that women have a stronger core than men?
If they're working on it, yeah, possibly, yes. But that's why
I'm trying to work on my core all the time.
Well, that's exactly why I went with the name CoreWorks, because I feel like every movement in Pilates, you have to keep that core engaged in order to have a beneficial workout.
So is Pilates a high impact type of exercise or is it low impact? I'm trying to understand why so many people with injuries would want to do Pilates versus another form of exercise.
Well, that's the thing. It can be low impact with modifications. And if you want something more challenging, it can, be high impact. It just depends on you, the beginner, if you're like in beginner movement, intermediate, or advanced. And then it's funny because I was reading like Adam Sandler does Pilates and LeBron James. So men are definitely doing Pilates. And Holly Berry, she has actually had some of the movements on her Instagram account. So yeah, I feel like it's just a great overall. You'll definitely feel it. After taking classes, your legs, they might, hurt a bit, but you definitely feel the difference.
Of course, I absolutely do. So who are some of the prominent folks in Pilates that you look to?
Well, I definitely look to Pamela Johnson. She has over 20 years experience. And the lady who trained me, Davina Wong, she's considered a master trainer at Club Pilates. She's my go-to person. And there are so many people. I mean, there's people who were under Joseph Pilates that are still around. But obviously I don't have a relationship with them because I haven't gotten a chance to meet them yet. But I actually like Pilates Anytime.com. That's another resource that people can go and sign up for, like a free trial for classes. They have a lot of experienced instructors on there. So during the times I've had to complete observation hours, I've used that tool and I found wonderful instructors who are just phenomenal.
Yeah. So looking forward, after COVID is done and over with, and we're able to communicate with each other and be beside each other rather than having physical distance, what do you see Coy Vanel doing during that time? How are you going to manage Pilates, marriage, kids, and acting?
Okay, so during that time when we were back out and about, I'm gonna definitely do Pilates part-time, probably teach once or twice a week. And I don't know, the verdict's still out on whether we want to put our toddler back in school. We had her enrolled for the next school year, but I just actually let them know that I probably won't have her back. So I'm still figuring that out, because if she's not going to go back to preschool, I'll have to, get part-time care for her at home, and then also be teaching her at home. We kind of just want to make sure everything is really safe and
Of course.
give it time. So I'll be doing that, teaching Pilates and teaching essentially my child. um,
Acting.
and definitely still, going on auditions. There's, you can never have too many auditions.
No, it's the life in LA, right? You're working, you're running to auditions, your clothes, everything is in your car for different opportunities.
Yeah, I'm able to keep less clothes now that I'm home more. So I don't find myself in those emergency situations. But I mean, yes, we definitely do keep at least one outfit. And then I also, my agent suggested starting my own YouTube series. So I've started like a cooking series, because I love to cook. And then I was losing my love for it because it kind of felt, it became a chore. So you feel like, gosh, and especially now, you're just cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner nonstop. So I kind of made it fun trying to do the whole series, cooking series. And so yeah, I got to figure that out. That's what I'll be doing, just kind of focusing more on creating content for myself and for my agent, to be able to showcase all of my skills.
Yeah, it's really interesting because yesterday I was on a Zoom call and with creatives, and one of the biggest takeaway was during this time to create as much content as you possibly can to pursue the things that you're really into and display them, because everyone is really at home and looking for something to do. So if you could keep on showcasing your talents and creating your content, it's a perfect time to do that, because you have a lot of viewers watching during this time period. So Coy, before you go, let us know what platforms are you on so that we can stay connected to you.
So I'm on Instagram. I'm at Pilates CoreWorks. And I am learning to become more consistent with that page and being able to upload. And then my main page is at Coy.Vanel. That's where you can find me.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we wish you well with your endeavor in starting your entrepreneurship journey.
Thank you so much.